Yeah. You wooed me. What a face.
All right, good morning, or good afternoon, folks. We're ready to get started. I'd like to call to order Lafayette Township Board of Trustees and Fire District. Today is Monday, October 6th at 6:30 p.m. The notice requirements of section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code and the implementing rules adopted by the board pursuant thereto were complied with for the meeting. Roll call.
Paroli here.
O'Neill here.
Fullerton here. We can all stand for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up is meeting minutes pending approval, July 7th.
I sent my edits to you guys earlier today. It's kind of late. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them or not. But
Are they different? I mean, we kind of discussed them briefly at
yeah, I
the
mean,
last meeting.
just I had red markings on them. I scanned them into you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I had to redo them.
July 7th, you said?
Yeah, 7. Well, I did 7th, 4th, 18th, and then last meeting. So in order. Alright, got them.
You just have the 2 edits, it looks like, 3 on the 7th.
July 7th was the first page.
No issues with those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to approve July 7th then.
I'll move to approve July 7th regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. July 7th approved. August 4th, Chris, I saw that you had made some changes on that as well. I have, Justin, just let me know when you find that one.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, you got it, okay. Chris, you had wanted to take out a point, a whole sentence. I'm not sure why, I could maybe assume, but I don't really wanna do that, so if you can explain why you wanted to take the sentence out, where trustee had, stated. It was on,
Sixth page?
Sixth page, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, other than up until that page, I just had some corrections for the Vassy siren replacement company. But yeah, this one, it's discussing a subpoena received by the board, and the subpoena was from, if it's the one I'm thinking of, we didn't. It's not detailed in there. It should be from like April,
Right.
March or April of '24. And I do recall Justin talking about something, but
It was
I
a
think
separate conversation, I think.
yeah, this at least refers to a separate conversation. I just, if we keep that in there, we should put it in a different location.
So maybe just move it to,
So what
maybe move it to a bullet point of its own, as opposed to being in that conversation.
Yeah,
That's, yeah.
move it down underneath the last open bullet item and make it a dark bullet item.
Yeah. That works.
With the plot though, you know how it gets
Yeah.
a little goofy, and I don't wanna add verbiage, obviously, to the minutes, but should we put parentheses and say referring to something, or, I mean, whatever the board wants to approve, or just make a different bullet point, it don't matter.
I think either one is perfectly fine, you know.
You read the subpoena. I don't know if it was that meeting.
I don't think so, I think it was
Previous meeting.
a prior meeting that we had talked about that.
Just say in
So-
reference to a
Yeah,
separate
a separate
subpoena
issue.
discussed by trustee Paroli.
Yep.
In a previous meeting.
So what you wanna do then is just take that bullet point and just make a whole new one.
That's fine.
Move it down like right before public comment, make it its own main bullet point, alright? And then your other edits look like they were just correcting spellings.
Yeah.
Trustee Fullerton, did you have any edits?
No, I did
Okay,
not.
then I will move to approve the
Okay.
August 4th regular meeting minutes with trustee O'Neill's edits.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. August 4th, approved. August 18th.
Yeah, the only one I had on that one is regarding warrants. And specifically, I mean,
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't care if you wanna add that clarification, that's perfectly fine, it doesn't change anything that was done. You know, the vote was the vote, the motion was the motion, if you wanna add that clarification, I've got no issue with that.
I guess it goes
No
back
issue.
to my first point, if we're adding clarification, should we put
We
a
could,
note in there, you know what I mean, just
Yeah,
for
well,
clarity or something?
yeah, and it can, we can take, trustee O'Neill's comment just as is and even put, you know, post-meeting edit, trustee O'Neill,
well,
clarification.
I referenced this I discussed this in the meeting. I mean, it's not just despite it.
Well, that's true,
We
you
do
did,
approve
you did.
it.
Yeah, well, that's what I said, I have no problem
Right.
adding that in there. I don't think it's adding any
Yeah, I'm not
substance to
trying
what
to
was
sneak
discussed,
anything
right?
in.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you just wanna add that.
That's the only one I had
Right.
on that one.
Okay, and that was, August 18th.
Yep. I will, move to approve the August 18th special meeting minutes with, trustee O'Neill's edit.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. August 18th approved. September 15th, I was not here, so we'll leave it up to you two.
Yeah, on the 5th page, and again, I think this is due to the plot, you know, maybe we skip around when we talk. We'll talk about one topic, and we'll get back to it, and if the plot wants to put it in chronological order, so. We had talked about the country club for a little bit, after talking about the lots on Lafayette Road, and then we went back and talked about it, the Lafayette Road thing, so I would just say take that last, bullet item and put it on the next page. I'm sorry,
So wait,
there's a,
the section that you have, you're talking about the section that you have, this
I would
here?
take this and put it on the previous page, right in
There.
here, because it's talking about a different. To keep
Oh,
the
I see what you mean,
subject the same.
the bullet point that starts variance option,
Yes,
so just that lower section, I wasn't
Yes.
sure if you were talking about the whole.
no, because see, that
Yeah,
was,
that
that was
was-
talking
right.
about the country
Yes,
club.
the
This was
variance
talking-
option should go with the section under the map amendment.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
I think that's the only one, actually, the last page,
I don't have any other edits on mine, so
the very, we did not
Oh,
motion
correct,
to
yes.
adjourn and pay the
It was
warrants.
just to adjourn.
Correct.
Correct, okay. Then I will, move to approve the September 15th special meeting minutes with trustee O'Neill's edits.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, I was absent. Okay, motion carries. September 15th approved. All right, consent agenda, everyone's gotten their reports?
Okay, well, real quick, if we could, before we get to the consent agenda, and I'm sorry for not doing it before the meeting minutes, but if, just trying to figure out, you know, we had, previously, the taxpayers paid for a camera for us to be able to record minutes, or record meetings, so we could publish them online. And I've noticed the last several meetings, that camera is now recording the audience and not the meetings. And I'm just curious
Is
as
that
to,
pointed to us as well?
why?
Has everybody? Okay,
Well, the camera recorded nothing but the front row of the audience for the August 6th meeting. We've got,
is that,
okay,
Is it
so why are we
cover
not
us?
recording in the back?
oh, we have one recording in the back as well.
That's a private resident that's recording.
Yeah, does it free of charge. I don't have a problem with that.
And the
But why did
camera's a better
we
camera.
spend money on a camera to record meetings back there and then all of a sudden switch to recording the audience?
Last year, he wasn't able to make it to several meetings, so if you recall, I went out and bought one.
Right, the board approved buying one, and we've always recorded in the back. And then starting after the July meeting, somebody made a decision to start recording the audience, and I'm just curious, since we never discussed it as a board, why we're doing that, and then also, why do we have any type of agreement where we have ownership rights to the video that Mr. Kyle is now providing for us to put on the website as the official video, since we're clearly not using the video that's from the camera that the township purchased to record the meetings?
And every time he uploads, it becomes our property, absolutely.
Will we have a written agreement that says that?
No, but it's common practice that we've done it for years, so.
No, as a matter of fact, Mr. Kyle's recorded meetings for a number of years, but originally he refused to give them to the township, which is fine, it's his right, it's absolutely, he's here of his own volition doing that. I'm just trying to understand why we made a decision. Well, I'm trying to understand where the decision was made
I think it
to start.
better encapsulate the meeting, you can pick up better when audience are talking and expressing, you know, their opinions on stuff. I think
Okay,
it
so you made the
works better.
decision
Oh,
to
yeah,
change where it was at.
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Alright, that's all I had. Go ahead, sir.
Well, you had consent agenda. Did you wanna
Well,
talk about consent agenda?
Well, I had sent information to the board. I think, you know, I don't wanna speak for you guys when you kind of started, when you first, became trustees in 2022, but I just kind of rolled in as the consent agenda was kind of always something that we did to kind of expedite the process of approving the reports. The reports had often included additional detail. You know, chief will routinely put in hiring and, not firing, but hiring and resignation recommendations, purchases that need to be made. Rick does the same thing with service. We've always treated approval of the reports as simply approving the reports, and then any actual formal actions of the board were always handled separately. After the last meeting, there was some confusion over whether accepting the fiscal reports included paying of the warrants, which we've always handled as a separate conversation. So I provided you guys with some additional research, and I think it's become pretty clear that the practice that we've observed previously doesn't really meet the requirements of what a consent agenda is supposed to be, and the way that it's done. There should never be any confusion over what is and isn't included in a consent agenda. You know, so the way that we implement it doesn't save any time, because we ultimately wind up going through all of the reports individually. So I mean, I just think at this point, to avoid any type of confusion, I mean, if there's confusion among the elected officials over what is and isn't approved in the consent agenda, I can only imagine what the residents, you know, and the taxpayers are taking away from that. So I would just scrap the use of a consent agenda completely going forward, and we'll just handle the reports individually.
The first thing I thought of while you were talking, is I would definitely encourage the board to have a workshop on policy and talk about this and put our concerns out on the table and come to a consensus on what's allowed, what's not. I just think that would be a good idea.
I would have no problem with that, but to clarify, Sherry, last month was the first time you included a payment listing in the consent agenda, correct?
No, I thought I've done it since I started, honestly.
I mean, was it?
And Laura did it previously. So that's not, none of that was directed
No,
at
I'm not saying it's
Sherry, as
directed.
she isn't used to the new processes. It's just, you know, when you read through the consent agenda, the idea is to expedite the meeting so that simple, routine, regular, non-controversial items can be handled all at once. But at the same time, they should all be very clearly spelled out, and then everything, like if you handle routine resolutions or business in that nature, then they're included in the minutes in their entirety, so there's no confusion. And like I said, it's all about streamlining the process, but we ultimately go through all of the reports individually, so there's really no reason not to. We also
we save time with the consent agenda. No, I mean, Chief normally comes up and goes through his report in rather detail, but Lieutenant Markham normally does not. Service does not. Zoning does not. We'll highlight some things, but
we have no policy. I shared with you guys the case law that revolves around it. It also states that, you know, because of the nature of the consent agenda and the fact that doing business that way could ultimately lead to a sunshine law violation, any member of any board can remove any item without a second or motion. So I guess what I'm gonna use, we can absolutely workshop it, but I'm not comfortable using a consent agenda. As is my right, I'm asking that each of those reports be pulled off the consent agenda and handled individually.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
No, nor do I. I would still encourage a workshop though.
That's fine.
So we can get our schedules together for that. I think
Sure.
that would be good. Yeah, fair enough.
It seemed to work for the first 18 months, the three of us.
Because we always just accepted the reports and then every actionable item was discussed and reviewed individually. This last meeting was the first one where there was confusion over whether we approved
A payment
the
list.
payment listing as the warrants or not. And again, that's not Sherry's fault, that's not what I'm
No.
saying here, it's just,
It's not.
you know, I did not review that the way that I would review checks going, I mean, it's, the payment listing is simply a vendor and a dollar amount, there's no verifying of invoices, there's no verifying that the invoices are, you know what I mean, like, it just gives the vendor and the dollar amount, it doesn't give you the opportunity to
Right.
verify that that's actually what we've been billed correctly.
Was there a problem prior to that though, when we had checks sitting there and everybody had the opportunity to go look at them with the invoices, paper clipped to them and.
Right, we got a chance to review them
Right.
before we approved them, that's all I'm saying, it's like, so that's why I was not expecting that payment listing, absent the ability to review the checks and the invoices, was approval of the warrants, you know, it wasn't the process that we've ever done before, that's simply all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, well, that was good discussion there. Fiscal. Sherry?
I don't really have a whole lot to report on, except, things are just slowly progressing along. There's a lot of things that I just haven't been able to fix yet. So, it's gonna take a while. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, I'm fixing somebody else's mistakes. I'm trying to keep up with what I'm supposed to be doing, not stuff that happened back in January, February, March, April, May. So we're slowly getting a handle on some of it, but other than that, I mean, I just wanna make sure at some point we discuss if we're gonna switch everything for sure to Westfield, so I can get checks ordered and stuff like that, but
Oh, yeah, that was the whole intent to begin with.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, so.
You do have some resolutions though.
I do, there's, two. One is the allowance rates for next year, for fire department and township, based off levies and, taxes. And then the other one is a supplemental and reallocation, resolution. So anytime you move money, whether it's within a fund or in supplementing a fund by, which is actually, an increase of a resolution, of a line item or a fund, it's supposed to be done by resolution, so we had to move a bunch of money around when, I realized the last month that we had to redo the appropriations, because it was over appropriated by like $37,000 at that point. So, we did that, and I sat down and I kinda went over where I see we're gonna run out of money in different line items, so those, unfortunately, it doesn't give you the name of the line item, it just gives you the number of the line item, so you have to kind of cross-reference your appropriations to that. But anytime there's a minus with the same number as a plus, that is a reallocation, that doesn't change your fund amount of your appropriations, but if it's a supplemental, it does, so that'll just be one line item by itself, so if it just says like $500, that means that was part of the, supplemental part of it. It's just something that the audit looks at, when you get audited, they wanna make sure that the board is aware that money was being moved around, basically at the end of the day. So since it hasn't been done, I just took it all the way back to the beginning of the year and just ran a report for everything that was moved around and had. Cause Chris and I sat one Saturday for 3 hours, went over everything in the book, and because when I realized that she was over appropriated at that point, you guys did approve it when we went through everything, but it was never sent to the county as an increase, there was no resolutions ever written. But she had justification in there, meetings, he went back to the minutes, he found where you guys said that, you know, you were gonna increase this or whatever. So she did that part okay, it's just the final step of passing resolutions, taking it to the county level, where anytime you touch the budget, up, down, left, or right, you have to go through the county, and it has to be passed by legislation.
So with respect to resolution number 17, I know these are a little bit out of order right now, that's the township side.
Right.
We discussed this last meeting, all of the appropriations, new monies, we had all approved in open meeting.
Well,
And
and
we talked
we
about
also
it again.
did a resolution already to fix the the
Yes.
total appropriations.
Yes.
That's been done separately.
Correct.
If I could just clarify, if I understood correctly, Sherry, so these are budgetary transfers between the accounts, so that, you know,
Within an
when,
account, not between accounts,
well, right,
between line items.
right, between line items. And in order to be able to make that transfer, the board is supposed to authorize it before it's done.
You
There-
can, but I've done it before in retrospect, and the auditor has no problem as long as it's been approved at some point. Because let's say by the time, like, I get a bill in and it's $800 over what was appropriated, now if I don't pay it, it's gonna be late, you're gonna incur late fees. You can do it, they're fine with that, as long as you pass some kind of resolution to recognize that there was a supplement made within that fund.
But it would be fair to say best practices, it
Well,
would
best
be done ahead of
practices,
time.
but right now, there's
That's
something
alright.
going on that's best practice, because I keep running into stone walls every time I try to pay something, because there's not enough allocated. It's been going on, I mean, I found a couple things today, I'm like, God, there's just not enough appropriated in the line item for what needs to be paid out. When it's not your budget, and you're trying to fix what somebody else has done, and you have no clue what they have done, it's really hard to do my job. It is extremely hard, so I'm trying to do the best I can to get your bills paid, so you guys quit having to pay late fees all the time, but when it comes down to it, as long as, that's why they don't care if you do it like retroactively, as long as, I mean, it shouldn't have went on for 10 months, no, but it's been going on for 10 months. So usually that's something that happens towards the end of the year when you start realizing you're a little bit under, usually it's utilities that are the problem, because, you know, those things fluctuate. And so, yeah, best practice would be to do it ahead of time, but that is not always the case, so therefore, as long as you do it retroactively, you don't have a problem with it. As long as it's beneficial.
So the fire and the township have supplemental and reallocation.
Yeah, the fire department only has reallocation, I believe. I don't
That's
think
what
they have
that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the township side.
Is it, in just opinion, Sherry, is it, line items are just too tight of a number, or?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, when you're doing your budget, I mean, I always try to, like, utilities, I automatically always do my budgets. And that's what's so weird for me here, cause I do my budgets everywhere else for everybody, and then we sit down and we talk about it like at a finance committee. Because I honestly, at the end of the day, that's what my job is, to make sure your budget is a good budget without going over anything, but you guys kinda did it, and I tried to like follow what you guys were wanting to do, and I already knew at the end of that meeting, you were already way under what you were at now, and I'm thinking, I always increase my utilities by 5 to 10%, because it's, let's face it, utilities are usually in about 5 to 10% every year. You know, and then you have to worry about your usage too, so who knows? So, yeah, I mean, it could, that's the whole reason for the supplemental, or I'm sorry, the reallocation, they changed the names, the state did, but, that's the main reason, and it usually happens towards the end of the year, like I said, because you know, you start seeing like your lights and gas and whatever, you spent more than you thought you were going to, get a rate increase, or, but at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with the way you're doing it right now, as long as it's approved that, you know, because like I said, all the they're more worried about the supplemental than the reallocation than anything, because that's what's done by legislation. So that's what they're gonna look at, and you're gonna get dinged in the audit for doing that, but other than that, you're okay.
Well, thank you, Sherry, for all of that information. I would move to adopt, resolution 17-2025 on the township side. Resolution, approving the supplementation and reallocation of appropriations established from January 1 of 2025 through September 27th. You wanna change that date to today, or you have the 27th on it?
I do, but I don't remember what I changed today, so we could always, I'm sure I'll probably have to move more, so, I mean, even if we have to pass another one next month, we have to,
Okay.
you know.
We'll leave it September 27th as written.
That was the
We'll
last time I
need
changed
to,
anything.
we'll need to adjust the
Until today.
location for the meeting on
Yeah,
all these as well.
I think Kristen, caught that and rewrote that.
The what?
You have the wrong address.
Oh, yeah, I switched it on the original.
Yeah. Second?
Yeah, there should be they should be right up there.
Oh, wait,
Oh.
yep.
Yep.
I will second the motion.
Roll call vote.
Rolly, no?
O'Neill, yes?
Fullerton, yes. Seventeen adopted. Fire district is resolution 9. Resolution approving the supplementation and reallocation of appropriations established from January 1, 2025 through September 27th, 2025. Motion.
And again, there's no new monies being appropriated here, this is just reallocation. Just out of curiosity, you have a problem with reallocating?
I have a problem with approving them after the fact when they're supposed to be approved before they're done. We've set the appropriations, we've adjusted those, so the appropriations are good. There's not supposed to be any reallocation without a discussion and a review of the board. That's just my opinion, but that's why there's three of us.
No,
so.
and yeah, I'm a little ticked off too, but I appreciate Sherry finding this and talking with the county auditor and coming to a resolution for it, so, retroactive. It just has to be this time. Waiting on a motion for fire department.
I will motion to approve resolution 9-2025 FD.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call vote.
Rolly, no?
O'Neill, yes?
Fullerton, yes. Alright, Sherry, what, we're on to, accepting, the rates, from the county. Amounts and rates for fiscal year 2026 as submitted by the Medina County Auditor's Office. I have the fire department, I'm assuming the township's over there as well.
Yeah, you're talking about the,
Accepting the rates, no, I just was
Oh.
wondering if it was there.
Shouldn't.
Okay.
that would be number 16.
18, right? Or, no,
16.
that's for the
Well, there
fire.
was a number confusion because I had number 16, but then didn't have to go 16 for the meeting.
Yeah,
So I
there's
switched my
16
That's the
18.
salt,
for the plow
Contract.
contract.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yep.
that should be up there.
Yeah,
16 for the
that'd be
plow.
Oh, was that-
I do have that one, we just have them. Two of them are misnumbered, that's all.
Oh,
But this is, I think this is the one that they're talking about right now.
Yes, yes, that's
the one
township,
with the
right?
sign sticky should be numbered correctly.
township, 18.
The only question I have on the one for rates and amounts is the actual resolution itself doesn't. We have all the language of dispensing of the reading requirement, emergency resolution, when it's gonna take effect, formal adoption, but there's nothing in the resolution that says what we're resolving. If you look at, the resolution for, the ones that we just did, it says to make provision, section 1 is to make provision for the current expenses and other expenditures of said board of trustees during the fiscal year ending on December 31st, 2025, which is attached hereto and made part hereof, being the same are hereby set aside and appropriated for the several purposes which expenditures should be made for and during the fiscal year. And there's no section on this resolution stating what we're doing or that there's an attachment, so I think you'll need some sort of language on there in order for it to actually state what we're doing.
I've never had an issue with that, I just always attached their original certificate that they give us to the resolution in my file, and it's always been sufficient. I mean, you guys do whatever you want, but.
You're just saying the resolution needs to have. a
Well,
little
just,
bit more
I think it should
robust-
have something that says that there's an attack, right, like, cause as it stands, and I know what Sherry's saying, cause the paperwork that the auditor gives us actually has a resolution that we could use in its place.
Right.
But if you were to look at this, the way that it's typed up, somebody would read this, this could be seen as the resolution, it doesn't reference an attachment, it doesn't reference this document. There just should be some section there that says, just like the one that I just read, like attached here
Yeah.
too is this, and then you've got this. That's all.
Yeah.
It's a simple edit, but.
Yeah, well, let's just reference, the resolution from the county, and then we'll staple it.
That works.
Anything else, Justin, on that?
Nope, everything's good on that one.
All right,
And we're gonna revise the text of the resolution to reflect this.
both attachments, yep.
Well, we can do that, or we can just add a section on there that references attached here too is exhibit, A, that is what we're resolving. That's all.
Okay.
No, that's good.
And then with that, we have it as 18 now.
Yeah, you've got it.
Well,
Yes.
my handout was 16 when she emailed it, but yeah,
so 18.
so I'll make a motion to, approve resolution 18, 2025, accepting the rates and amounts from the auditor's office.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call vote,
Paroli, yes?
O'Neill, yes?
Fullerton, yes. Okay, so same on fire, resolution 8, 2025 FD. We can add that same verbiage.
And then the only question I had, Sherry, maybe you can answer, on the rates provided, they do not list the levy for the bond fund.
I know, you asked me about that, and I told you that I gave it to her, why she did not put it on there, the only thing I can think of is by the time we got it to them and they had their meeting, and by the time she contacted me and asked me about that, I don't know if it was too late for it to go on the original certificate, but they have it, I gave it to them, but she didn't like resubmit a new original certificate to me.
And we can discuss later, but I wonder if, cause like I was looking at since you had forwarded out they've sent us the preliminary certificates, based on our carryover, we're gonna have enough money in the bond fund on January 1st of next year to cover our principal and interest payments. Ultimately, meaning we don't have, we wouldn't have to collect it, so I wonder would they have pulled it off because we have sufficient carryover to meet our obligations for next year?
I don't know, I mean, the only time that they usually don't put anything in is like some people tend to appropriate their entire revenue, which is insane in itself.
Right.
So that leaves you no option for your original certificate for the beginning of the year because you expended everything, so you normally can't even do a budget at that point for the following year.
Right.
But honestly, I mean, I can call Kristen and ask her, I don't think that's the case, but.
Well, I mean, the certificate you sent us, the preliminary certificate does show it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm just making sure we're not gonna have any issues because our resolution that we're accepting doesn't have it.
Well,
I don't know that anybody's gonna yell at us if we don't collect
I
the
mean,
tax.
that's what they
I don't
gave
think
us, so come the first year when you send them the carryovers, they're gonna send you your first amended certificate anyway, so it should all be on there once the carryovers are all given to her.
Okay,
So I don't know that it's a huge thing at this point, cause it was done in September, so you don't even really know exactly what you're gonna have until your carryover sit next year anyway, so.
right.
So I mean, if you want me to call her and make something out of it, I guess I could, but if not, we could just wait until the amended one comes out January 1st or 2nd, whatever the case may be. If I'm lucky enough to get your bank recs done by then, I can give her a firm number, it'd be great.
she should be able to turn it around pretty quick, like adding it on or an explanation of why it's not.
Are we allowed to just write it on and then approve it, or do we have to approve the one they presented?
No, you should write on, I mean, so that for your own reference.
I mean, 'cause we have
Well,
our-
but we're accepting what they're giving us.
That's true.
Well, that's true, I mean, honestly, you could do it any way you want, I mean, if you wanna just hold out till next month, I mean, they're not really gonna care, cause it doesn't have to go back to the budget commission at this point anyway. The biggest thing was getting the budget done in time. for
Right.
them to do.
Honestly, we can accept what they have, to be frank.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think worst case scenario, they don't collect the bond levy. The taxpayers will pay less on their property taxes, and we still have enough money in the fund to get us through next year, so even if it does get botched, alright, I'm, as long as.
I don't think it's gonna affect the collection of your bond, if that's still supposed to be in place, I don't think that's going to adhere to that at all, I think it's either a misprint or a date timeline thing.
Yeah, and I tend to agree, I just always get a little apprehensive about approving something that we know is incorrect, or incomplete.
Correct.
But, alright, I will move to approve resolution 8/2025 FD.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call vote,
Paroli, yes?
O'Neill, yes?
Fullerton, yes. Alright, resolution 8.
Before, well, actually, you had a couple things on fiscal too, right, Ty, that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think someone did the same thing as I did, I think. But no, I pulled out the warrants too, just if we wanna approve the warrants right now, why we have Sherry's attention, just in case we have questions for her. I have the township and the fire department.
I would, well, let's get into it then, since you wanna talk about warrants. And here's why I have an issue with the way that we did it last time. So, Ty, I believe when you got back into town, you had sent an email saying that, there were payments that were late from last week's batch of checks that I approved and refused to sign, and Sherry had to wait for you to come back into town to get them and mail them. This is that is very concerning. I did ask for a copy of any invoice that was late as a result of my not signing them. I didn't get a response, so.
Well, we won't know until if there's late fees put on them, so.
Well,
There's a potential for some, yes, absolutely.
So that's what you're gonna say, that some of them could be late because I didn't sign them.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I went through every check. So on the township side, we had 18 total checks that were down there to sign. 17 of them were listed on the payment listing. One of them wasn't even listed on the payment listing. So even if the payment listing was approval of warrants, there was one that had never been approved but got signed. So that's a separate issue though. Of those, 3 were returns to residents. So 2 of them were rental, town hall rentals where we were doing a deposit return, and the other one was the refund that we were doing on the switch from the columbarium, gravesite columbarium. We gave them $50 back. So there were 15 checks that were written to vendors that covered 22 invoices. Okay, so there were 22 invoices for the township. 8 of them were already late before we even met on the 15th. There was 1 invoice that was due on the 19th, but we met on the 15th, and Sherry texted us to come sign them on the 19th. So there was 1 invoice that possibly could have been late because I hadn't signed them. All right, so that's on the township side. Then on the fire district side, there were 18 checks. Again, there were only 17 on the payment listing, so there was 1 that wound up getting signed and sent out that was never approved at the board.
What was that one?
Well, on the township side, we had a check. No, the check was for Blue Technologies, and it was an invoice that was received on 9/8 for $56.91. On the fire district side, the check that was not on the payment listing was for Medina County Sanitary Engineers. It was for $470.57, and it was received on September 15th, and it was already late when we got the bill. We were in arrears on that one already. Of the 18 checks that were signed for the fire department, 12 of them were already late prior to the meeting on the 15th. There was the same Rumpke bill that was sent to us on September 4th was the date of the invoice, due on September 19th. But again, the checks weren't even available to sign until September 19th, so that was gonna be late regardless of whether I signed it that day or not. Additionally, I talked about, we need to have some checks and balances. So the checks are prepared. Sherry gives us, and Laura did the same thing. We get an envelope or a folder for both the township side and the fire district side. The checks are on there, they're made out, there's the warrant that lists, the payment, and then there's the invoice that goes with it. So during that process, we should be reviewing everything and making sure it matches up. Are we doing that?
I did, and the 2 outliers that you talked about, I actually talked
Well,
with
there's actually, there's some additional outliers. Sensible Products. The check was written for $124.67. The invoice is for $124.37. So it's only 30 cents, and it's definitely a very simple key invoice typo. But you both looked at it, didn't catch the error, signed the check, sent it out. The Ohio Fire Chiefs Association, there's a check here for $250. The invoice is for $100. There is another amount down here at the bottom for $250 if we want to sign up for the winter symposium, but the check was made for $250 even though the invoice is $100. And more concerning is at the bottom, Chief Kavanaugh signed off on it, stamped it paid, it's already been paid by a credit card, so it was invoiced that didn't even need to be paid, so we just sent $250 out that we didn't know anybody.
That was a bit bad. That's what's the confusing part when everybody pays by credit card.
Everon, actually here. This was for $95.84. Sherry, I'm guessing that's your handwriting on it, right?
I'm guessing, yeah.
What's it say? Late JP, so my fault that's late. What's the due date on the invoice?
No, that's not my fault. All those bills are late, and they're not.
Well, I understand, but on here, and then the story that's being presented is that because I didn't sign the checks, invoices are late, but this one was due before we even met.
I understand that, but I wrote a lot of checks that sat there for 2 weeks at the time. Thank you for videoing me. I'm still trying to catch up with all the bills that are coming from January, February, March, April, May, and June. And that's why there's a lot of them are.
We wrote a check to First Communications for $378.66. It was stapled to the invoice for AT&T Mobility. Cents stapled to the check, the invoice for First Communications. So not sure that there's any way to verify that these are the right amounts or the right invoices, but that's an issue. Stryker, we paid $2,443.96. There are multiple invoices attached to this. There is no way to sum any of these totals to $2,443.96.
I'm just going by what Brian gives me on the Stryker thing.
But what I'm saying is all the invoices are attached here, and no matter how you add any of these numbers together, I can't come up with any combination of numbers that comes up to $2,443.96. And the thing is, it's not about mistakes getting made, but two people looked at all of these and just signed the check and moved on. And there's clearly a number of errors that were made. And the fact that invoices are late has nothing to do about whether I sign checks or anything along those lines. It has to do with the fact that we meet once a month and there's no process or procedure in place to make sure that we aren't doing this. We've got on the payment listing, and again, not Sherry's fault, we've got an invoice from April that's never been paid. That's on the payment listing for tonight. So again, this whole narrative that somehow, because I won't sign checks that we never approved at a meeting, and I would never, I don't understand the concept of approving a payment that we haven't reviewed an invoice for. That's just absolutely asinine to me. We take an oath to protect the taxpayers' money, and we're just gonna approve, yeah, anyway.
No, keep going. Approve what?
We're-
You wanna look at every check before you approve the warrants?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
I think that's the bare minimum.
Well, I want you, yeah, bring it up, yes, absolutely. Good. Good.
So why
Chris,
didn't you
anything
do
in
that
there?
at the last meeting, when I asked you a question? We totally skipped that whole thing. We went from that right into audience participation and never even entertained. the
Entertain
warrants.
what?
That's
There
my
were
question.
no warrants prepared. There was a payment listing.
Bullshit, they were sitting right there. They were here. It's the same place they're at right now.
Okay.
Weren't they after this? All the checks were here last month. I don't wanna hear they weren't here. They were sitting right up there where they always are.
Then why didn't you say something that they were sitting there?
don't
I was
think
sitting
did.
right here.
I don't know why you didn't do it.
All right.
Cause I assumed
Anyway.
that when you approved the consent agenda, you approved the bill.
Yeah,
And I
but
find out that the check.
And I understand the disconnect here, but that's never been our procedure, ever. All right, so we got that out of the way, with the warrants. I had a couple other questions on fiscal though.
So do I, go ahead.
Well, do you wanna do the Westfield Bank one? I mean, I only went to warrants because you kinda brought up paying
Yeah,
them now.
no, that's fine. And did you put Westfield down also?
I did not,
I
no.
did. Did you put down Westfield? Okay, I don't know why I ended up twice, but Westfield Bank, I don't even know what you call it, had a faux pas. Our rate expired, on 8/4, and the new rate that they give us, and I'll tell you, it expires 12/22. So we were at 4.25%. It expired, and then, they didn't catch it in time, so they're gonna refund us the money for that period of time. They're gonna date it back to 8/4, at 4% interest. So I had called the bank and said, hey, something's wrong, let us know what's going on. So he emailed what I'm telling you to all the trustees once they figured it out.
Wait,
Um,
real quick. I asked Sherry for the statements. She wasn't able to get access to the statements because she's had difficulty with getting Westfield to access them. So I went to Westfield and I got the bank statements, and then I sent you guys all an email saying that our interest rate was 0.6%. So let's.
Oh, well, yeah,
Okay.
either way. So I called Jared, I called Jared at the bank and said, hey, there's something messed up. You guys need to look at that, so.
There
he got
wasn't.
back with us.
We discussed this at a previous meeting. Actually, Ms. Collins asked you about it, if we were gonna keep an eye on that account, because we were told that rate was gonna expire at the beginning of August. So I'm
Right.
equally as liable for it, but we knew that was gonna happen, and we dropped the ball paying
Right,
attention to
and if
Westfield.
we keep the same checking account, which is called Signature Money Market, it will, the 4% will expire on December 22nd. So their suggestion was to get a new product called Premier Advantage, and it has no expiration date, only if the feds change actions or competition, and that rate would be locked in at 3.95%. So as the board, we could decide, and it's just a simple little form to fill out to change the checking. So you guys want to discuss that?
My position is still the same. I think it makes the fiscal officer's job significantly harder to have two banks for no apparent advantage from a savings rate. We can utilize Huntington, we get a better rate on the checking account there, and then the rest of the money at Star Ohio gets a higher rate than Westfield, so.
Huntington is it's less than 2%.
No, it's not.
Sherry,
And that's the
Sherry,
checking
you
account.
just sent all them Huntingtons.
I don't
It's
know.
less than 2%.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Why he's looking at it.
You're right, this month it dropped to 1957, but again, we should be utilizing Star Ohio, which is at 4.37 for everything that we don't need for daily liquidity.
Right.
The bad thing about Star Ohio, if I can interject,
Sure you can.
you know, Star Ohio is an investment thing where that fluctuates based off of, you know, stocks and bonds and whatever the case
No,
is.
it doesn't.
It doesn't?
But
They're
some
not investing your money?
but there's no stocks. It's
Or whatever they're investing, but it's still at the end of the day, it's an investment where you're not sure what day to day your percentage rate's gonna be, where if you've got a firm number of any bank, whatever the case is, I don't care if you use Chase for all I care, but to me, if you've got a fixed number of 4% and Star Ohio you may hit 5 here or there, but it may hit down to 3, you don't know, I mean, 'cause at the end of the day, it's an investment, it's not,
sure,
You know.
and just like Huntington readjusts our checking account our checking account interest rate there, Westfield to do the same thing. This is what, the third time now we've had to have them credit us for back interest because the rate dropped and we had to contact them because we're getting no proactive service whatsoever out of Huntington. I mean, I'm not gonna belabor it tonight. We know what the thoughts and the processes are on that, so if you guys wanna take a
I
chance
think
with Westfield, go for it.
you know, obviously, there's been some issues with Westfield, but they've always stepped up and they are providing a better interest rate than Huntington, no question. And I don't think that's not even arguable. I get that you're a fan of Star Ohio, and we have monies in Star Ohio. But by the same token, it's not a deposit bank, it's not guaranteed, and there is a risk of loss there. So I'm all for the diversification, but putting all our eggs in that basket, it's a bit of a gamble, in my opinion. Everybody each their own on that opinion. I think we should try to push for a meeting with the representative from Westfield and try to get this ironed out, because I don't know, there's conflicting stories on the previous fiscal officer and their correspondence with Westfield, and it shouldn't be this hard, and I think we should sit down, but if it's a better product, it's a better product nonetheless.
Well, you more than welcome to meet with them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can set up a meeting with one of us individually and the fiscal officer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, you wanna?
And I don't have a problem with competition. I mean, having two banks is not a bad thing at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
How much fun is it banking with two different banks, Sherry? Especially one that's not open on Saturdays.
well, right now I haven't done anything because I'm not getting any firm answers on what was supposed to happen before. I know nothing went the right way with opening up anything, so when I started here, and I'm paying all these bills out of Huntington, somebody, I don't know, one of you guys asked me why the checks aren't written out of Westfield, I'm like, because there's not a check from Westfield to be found in this building, so no checks were ever ordered. So, I mean, you guys just threw me into this hot mess of everything, and I'm supposed to figure it out with no guidance, and
That
then-
wasn't meant to be a criticism.
Well, it's a bit of a
So-
loaded question to ask her.
No,
I mean,
I'm just
she-
saying,
I-
it's
I'm
just,
just-
I driven the checks, so I mean, does it stink? It's not great. The only problem I see right now with moving it, and that's another thing I did actually forget to ask you guys. Right now, your credit card with the, with Huntington's demanding, well, they already demanded, anyway, that the credit card come out ACH because it's always been late. Well, the problem is, the fire department, the roads, everybody uses the same credit card. And since they're demanding the ACH, now they take, like if Brian uses it from the fire department, they take it out of our account. So there's just one more thing I gotta do, I have to go in there, now I gotta transfer money from the fire department to, I'm not sure why they're even on the same credit card.
You said we have two though, right?
There's another account that says zero, and I'm gonna call, what's that lady's name? Melissa? I think, and just see if, like, we could switch the fire department to their own card, so that if they're gonna insist on the ACH, at least comes out of their account, and not out of our account, cause then you gotta go in and flip money around, and that's just insane in itself anyway, but. Yeah, so I mean, do I enjoy it? No, I don't care, I mean, it's up to you guys how you guys wanna do it, it's no different driving to Lodi than it is driving to Westfield, just as wise. And they gave us that check reader thing, the deposit thing, I've never used one, but I'm sure it's not rocket science. And honestly, the township doesn't get even remotely as many checks deposited as like the fire department does, cause they get 10 to 20 a day.
Motion to, change the checking account to Premier Advantage.
I'll motion to change the checking account to Premier Advantage.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
So when do you want me to start taking your money and moving it into Westfield? Like, do you want me to start ordering checks? Cause that takes a while, you know that, after the last debacle.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, actually, and actually that's a decent segue into one of the other things I wanted to cover under fiscal. I've always been under the impression, based on the investment strategy policy that we put in place, that at the end of the day, when it comes to moving money between the accounts that we have, whether it's Huntington, Star, whatever, that was authority that we had given to the fiscal officer to be able to transfer funds as she needs to. Not obviously from a budgetary standpoint on the appropriations, but within banking accounts, right? Like, we have bills to pay, she needs money in the checking account. She can go in and have money moved out of savings into checking or from Star to the bank. I mean, does that sound accurate? Okay, well, the only reason I bring it up is because there have been some, I guess, questions or some accusations made of an inappropriate transfer of $70,000 from Star Ohio savings to our Huntington checking account that happened shortly after Sherry started. When Laura departed, there was not enough money in the Huntington accounts to make payroll. And Sherry hadn't been set up on any of the bank accounts yet, so she didn't have the authority to do any of that. So in working with Sherry, I made a call to Star Ohio and authorized a transfer of $70,000 from our Star Ohio account to go into Huntington so that we could meet payroll. So I just wanted to kind of clarify on there, one, what happened there, and two, why that falls well, at least why I thought it fell well within the authority that we had already given to the fiscal officer. I just wanted to see if you guys agree
When
with
was that done?
Like the
Like
second
2
day
days
you were
after
here, I think?
started. The second day, the second day after I started.
I
Right.
think it was late July, and then I saw it.
No,
and I
it was
asked
early
her-
July.
No, it was probably mid-July. I mean, it was literally
Well,
like,
we
it
got
was
started
in
on the
July's
7th.
statement.
Right, right,
Yeah,
because-
I saw it,
So-
and I asked her about it, and she told me, and, I didn't make a big deal about it. It would have been nice to have gotten a note from one of the trustees saying, hey, I moved this.
okay, so I just want to verify, every time she moves money behind accounts, she should be telling us?
No, a trustee did it, not the fiscal officer. She didn't have access to Star Ohio.
which is the only reason that I did it was because
All I'm saying is
that
for
would,
courtesy,
Right.
hey, you know.
Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah, I wouldn't
Are we
say that
talking
I
courtesy
wouldn't
now?
say that
okay,
you did it wrong. The only thing I would prefer as another trustee is if you just let us know, hey, Sherry's not set up yet, I had to do this to help. Hey, cool, thank you.
And the reason why I didn't bring it up at all is because it went to a good cause. It was for the express purpose of making payroll.
well, it
Legitimate
was
reason.
also within her authority to do it herself. The only reason she couldn't is
Right.
because
Yeah.
she needed added to the accounts.
Yeah.
Okay. Since we've been talking about the checks and balances kind of thing, and the fact that we should be working together to facilitate the efficient use of, you know, the efficient functions of our government here, I think we need to discuss, you know, Sherry's done a phenomenal job with the payroll visibility compared to where it was before. I think for the first time ever, I'm actually getting, you know, prior to Sherry taking over, it was always just signed timesheets and then payroll went out without any type of review process or anything along those lines. I do think we've discussed this before. I think that probably is a little bit of a dereliction on our part of that review process. Part of it's because of our meeting schedules. Obviously, we have to disperse funds for payroll, but I do think that based on some things that have happened recently, if there was a review process where, you know, payroll was finalized and then the board reviewed and authorized it, it would be a chance to catch errors that, you know, are just, I mean, things happen. Like, we all make mistakes, but I think if we had that review process, we probably wouldn't have had the issue that we did with the fire department payroll at the beginning of September.
At the beginning of what exact issue you're referring to?
There was, you're asking me?
Well, it's probably easier
No,
for
I
you to
know.
explain. I don't want to botch
Well,
it.
when Brian sent a spreadsheet, and then when I picked it up out of the, off the website, I printed out the wrong one, so it was totally my fault, and I get it. The only problem with you guys reviewing, with you not paying by check and paying by direct deposit, is I don't even get the timesheets until Monday. And then I have to get in here on Tuesday, and I have to process 50 paychecks, and I picked up the wrong, so it was totally my fault, but we have since rectified it, Brian and I, we went through it all.
Yes.
But, so I can't wait much past Tuesday to deposit, or to do all the payroll and get it to Huntington Bank, so that it hits the bank for direct deposit, because they have to have it at the minimum 2 days in advance. So I try to do it on Tuesday, just in case there's a problem, I can shoot back in there on Wednesday, fix it. That unfortunately did come out until I didn't find that until the day of payroll. But, so I mean, unless you're gonna come in here and sit down and do payroll for me on Tuesday before it goes out, I don't know what to tell you.
Is that what it would require? I mean, and that's why I'm bringing it up, is again, not to do anything other than to figure out how we can streamline a process or
Right.
enhance a
That's the only
process
thing
to
I
make
can
sure that there's another check in there so that, look, we're all human. That's not what this is about. But it's, you know, there's gotta be a way that we can help, you know, catch some of these things, especially while Sherry's digging out from everything that she's under, right? Like,
Right.
we all know what it's like to be stressed, you know, you're just more prone to missing something. I mean, it's just the
Is
way
that
it
the
is.
only payroll FUPA
Yeah.
we've had since?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't,
And how is it, what was the rectification, what happened to correct it?
Well, basically what it was is they, there was like 6 of the firemen that got overpaid, so we just took it out of the next pay, so, I mean, it's a done deal now, I mean, when Brian sent me the payroll for the last time, I have a spreadsheet in my computer, and we just been knocking them off as they've been working, so.
And I'm assuming that these are probably all direct deposit, correct?
Everybody's direct
And
deposit.
so if there is a mistake, I'm sure we have
There's no
it.
way to rectify it at that point, 'cause it's already hit the bank.
Right, but we could go back and probably correct it almost every direct, not that we'd wanna do that. It's much easier to wait to the next pay cycle and just
No, but
correct it then.
And please, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's not like I process a lot of payrolls, but like, isn't there a step where like when you load it in, like the payroll journal could be reviewed by somebody, that we could have a process of just like a second set of eyes and double check to just be like, hey, everything matches? Because that's, like, look, that's all I do when Brian sends payroll for the fire department, right? Like, I have no way of verifying that, you know, everybody clocked the hours that he that he says that they clock, but it's more just a double check of, hey, you've got all your pay rates lined up right, you've got all your hours, you know, there isn't something that's clearly off, right? Somebody that worked 185 hours or something, you know what I mean, like something crazy, because it happens, right? Like, that's why we have checks in place. So I didn't know if there was a way, you know, to insulate just something to think about.
I mean, I'll try to figure out something, I mean, I can come in, I mean, I haven't even been getting timesheets till Tuesday, so.
So we need to get you timesheets
I asked
earlier.
them for them, I'm like, yeah, I didn't get this done, at least make sure it's in my door when I get down there so I can work on it. Now, Brian's pretty good about it, and Rick was on vacation a couple of times, but, you know, if I had it on Monday, I'd come down on Monday and do it. You
So
know?
getting you timesheets earlier would help too, is what you're saying?
Sure, I mean,
Okay.
if they're done on Saturday's the last day, give them to me on, I mean, Rick could give them to me on Friday if they're not working the weekend. And
Right.
then, you know, right before he leaves, just throw them in my door. And then if I wanna come down Saturday or Sunday and process, you know, cause when you do the payroll, when you EFT it to the bank, you tell them the bank the day that you want it to hit. So you can do it well in advance, doesn't matter, you know, I mean, and Brian's, his spreadsheets are ridiculous, I'm like, I don't even care how much these people, what they do, just give me how much they make and how many hours it is.
Right.
His spreadsheet's 9 feet long, so he's been reducing it down to just that for me, cause that was
Okay.
ridiculous, but, so he's
I'll
been
smack
doing
him around
that.
a little.
Does Brian do,
he's on
his
vacation.
payroll, does he do it Monday mornings then?
When payroll stops on Saturday, I don't expect him to come in on Sunday.
Right, usually he gets them done fairly
Yeah,
early
he's
on
all right.
Monday. Every once in a while, they're a little bit later, but, okay.
I mean, and for the most part, if I can get them done on Monday, I mean, it doesn't matter Monday or Tuesday unless I have a meeting somewhere else, but I normally don't on Mondays and Tuesdays, so I would prefer to just get down here and get out of my hair, to be honest with you. So if they wanna get it done by Monday, and then I can send you guys that, you know, when you EFT it, it will spit you out an EFT report, and I can email it to you guys can look at it, and as long as you let me know by Tuesday, if not, I'm shipping it through,
Okay.
so.
I had another question on, I noticed, you know, and I don't know if it's, you know, previously, we had always received elected official pay at the end of the month. I think Laura always did it as a separate one-off. I don't know that that's the easiest or the best way to do it, but I noticed, you know, obviously, all of our employees are on bi-weekly. The elected officials are first to the end of the month. So I wasn't sure why our September 1 through September 30th pay was processed on the 19th.
Probably because that's when you process the second payroll run of the month, right?
I didn't even really catch that. What did you say?
The elected officials, our pay period,
Cause that's the
is-
last pay period of the month, I mean, that's
I'm
what
sure
I asked that question. And I
convenience
was
for
told
you,
the
right?
last pay of the month, whatever falls with the other ones, I mean,
okay,
that
well,
question was asked, that's the answer I got, so.
okay, and that's what I'm saying, I don't know who you asked, and that's fine, but like, you know, I don't know anywhere where you get paid before the end of the pay period.
Well, at the end of the day though, by doing it, I mean, it doesn't really matter, I mean, by statute, you're getting paid anyway, unless you walked out the door, but if you worked one day of the month, you're gonna get paid anyway. So, now if I have to do 3 payrolls,
I mean, I'm not suggesting it at all, I'm
but then
simply
you,
saying
I'm
do it
not
on the
even
first
saying that, I'm
payroll of the
saying then
next
you have-
month, so we
then
get
you have
paid
3
after.
941s, you have 3, you know, and it's,
And I don't think you're 100% correct, like, if I quit on the first of the month, I don't get paid for the full month.
well, you probably don't, actually, you guys are prorated by day. I
Right,
get it.
and on top of it, you'd have a statutory issue because if you replaced me, you couldn't pay that person for the remainder of the month because I've already been paid for it. So I just think, like, I agree, there's no reason to do an extra payroll. I just don't think we should be paying ourselves before we've completed the pay period for which we're being paid. So it should probably be on the first payroll of the following month.
Is that how you guys want it? I mean,
I-
you know what I
I
said, you guys
couldn't
need
care
no
less.
guidance, you guys are running blind.
Your whole time we've
No,
been paid
sure.
like the
No, no.
27, 28,
And that's why I
29,
said, I
it
understand
doesn't
it's always been at the very end of the month and it was a separate payroll, but,
Yeah.
you know, I just think none of our employees get paid before they've earned the check.
I'd say you do
First
it whatever's easiest for you. You
I'll
wanna
do it at
wait?
the end of the month, it doesn't matter.
No,
Like,
do,
you
no,
pay me
do it
out
on the
people
first
without
of the
worrying about
month,
that
it
check.
don't matter.
The first payroll, so for October, it would be the first payroll in November, the elected officials get paid.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, I think it's cleaner, you know, I spoke with, you know, Mike Lyons about, or actually it was Nathan Cott, I spoke with the prosecutor's office about it, and there was a case where there was a trustee, another township that opted to pay their trustees lump sum the whole year, January 1, guy quit,
And never got recovered.
Well, they didn't get it recovered, and they couldn't. They statutorily could not pay the replacement trustee because they had already paid for it. Like the statute limits how much you can pay for the office, so they had to go out and try to recruit somebody to do this job for absolutely nothing.
Oh, don't they think-
Stay with,
Person ever paid by the
Sherry, stay with two, and stay with two, put electeds on the first.
Yeah, that's all I was.
That's
And then,
fine, I
yeah,
don't care,
no,
but,
that's,
you know,
we don't,
whatever.
try not to create more work.
And then the last thing I have under fiscal is how do we want to handle cleaning up the audit for sick time?
Oh, I'm trying to work on that. So I did back it off, and then when I did Rick's check, so I see what you have to do now that I'll go back and put them back where they were, and I put them all back to the 4 hour. So I
Is
decided
that-
to drop Rick's because I dropped them back to where it was, but then it picked up again. So I'll audit it and go through it again.
And are we doing that? Are we doing 4 hours every paycheck?
Yeah, 'cause you get 8 hours a month. So
Right,
I have
so-
to pay attention when there's a third
So,
pay.
yeah, I was okay.
You know?
Yep. All right. Cool. That's all I had on fiscal. Thank you.
Basically, his is the only one at this point too that we have the right to worry because he's the one I have to make sure I go in and adjust every pay. So unless he uses any, to stay at that number. It's just a mental note I have to make to make sure.
You're talking about just accruing it, right?
Pardon me?
You're talking about just accruing sick time, right?
No, because, since you guys, obviously nobody knew that I know nobody knew this until Mike Lyons told us that we are not a civil service township, didn't know there was a difference between a regular township and a civil service township, so now we all know. So you guys don't have to follow the ORC on sick time for state employees like villages and cities and, cause you don't meet the 10,000 mark of people and there's a couple other things that you
So
have
the
to-
cap is 960 hours on the accumulation, and the way our policy is written, because I think the other thing that Sherry and I talked about right off the rip was the fact that like the state, if you do have to follow that, it's 4.6 hours for every 80 worked. Our policy is written that it's 1 day a month, so it's like Sherry said, we can either do 4 hours every pay, and then in the months where there's a third, you just zero it out, or you'd have to do like 3.7
Yeah,
every.
it only happens twice a year,
Right.
so that's not hard to remember.
But that's all, and then, so we'll need to go back and double check to make sure that that's in line.
Okay, service,
Did you guys get a chance to review the reports?
yeah.
Any questions on it?
Well, yes, cause he's saying that, the 10-ton trailer that hauls the excavator needs tires.
Yeah.
He got 2 quotes, North Gateway and then Holmes Tire.
Yep. He said, I mean, it's $30 more at North Gateway, but it's right here in town, so he.
Well, I
preferred to
think
do it.
they've always been
Yeah, they
great to
must-
work with, and if you have any issues, repair, replacement, warranty.
And,
Is that what he wanted to do, was North Gateway?
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's that, and then he also wanted me to say to give a thank you to the county for lending us the equipment that he was able to use for Egypt and Egypt and Carson. He was doing some asphalt work out there. Was able to get a little bit done on Deerview as well, so thank you to them. But I will go ahead.
No, I was just real quick, since we're on that, I would like to thank Rick as well. We had an incident where a sick deer had to be put down in our development, and he came out on a Sunday evening to remove it from the tree lawn. So didn't have to do that, but that was nice that he popped
Kind of
over
guy
and
he is.
get that done. So definitely wanted to recognize him for that. So
Are those tires coming out of Road and Bridge?
What's that?
yeah.
Are those, okay, how much was it to say?
I would make a motion to approve $14.50 for 4 new tires. Well, it is 4. Well, for new tires
yeah,
for
new
the
tires,
trailer
trailer.
for North Gateway. Yep.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. North Gateway, $1,450. Anything else on?
Yes, resolution, this is an agreement, we passed it by motion last year. The rates are not gonna change unless you guys have an issue with them or wanna discuss them.
I haven't even seen. I mean, I'm assuming it's pretty much the same language as last time, but without an opportunity to review it,
No,
I'm not
and
ready
you
to vote on it
can,
tonight.
I do need to, well, I think we could do this, agree to contract with Chippewa Lake Village for October 1st to September 30th of next year at $95 an hour for road maintenance. It's exact same situation as it was last year.
Well, I know, but this is literally.
I didn't
like-
realize you guys were copied on this. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, like, you didn't send out the contract prior to me.
No, this is it, it's $95 an hour. The only thing.
Right, but when was the last time we revisited rates?
Last year.
We increased it last year?
Oh, was it last year or the year before?
It might have been the year before, but in my opinion, it's still very fair.
Rick wants to keep it at 95, he thinks that's fair.
And it's mostly plowing. They do very little
Yep.
work out there.
Well, if both of you guys reviewed it and you wanna put it through, that's fine, but I haven't read it, so I'll just abstain from voting on it. I'm not gonna hold the whole meeting up
Well,
to
no.
read that and compare it to last year's contract, I mean, it just would've been nice to have it sent out.
Yeah,
ahead of the
and I
meeting.
apologize, I didn't know you were
Okay.
copied on that. But, I mean, if you want to, we can wait till next meeting and do it.
What would you wanna kick it off on October 1st? I mean,
It's already
look,
late for that, but, I
Well,
don't
that's
think
what
we're
I'm
gonna be
saying.
salting or plowing anytime, that's,
oh, you gotta jinx it.
or would you rather go through it?
It's up to you. We motioned it last year. I mean, we are contracting between two government
Right.
entities. It probably
So it
should be a resolution. So I don't think it's gonna hurt to wait. Just
Okay.
change the dates on it.
Okay,
Just as long as you let the village know.
yep, I'll let them know. And that's it for service.
Fire,
Chief decided to go on vacation, so he's not here.
Save a little time, right?
Right. Yeah, so, well, you guys all saw Chief's report, right? 63 calls for September, 45 in the township, 7 in Chippewa Lake, 2 in Glory Glens, 1 in Chatham, 1 in the city of Medina, 1 in Guilford Township, 1 in Medina Township, 2 in Wadsworth, and 2 in York. His write-up. On September 6th, our members provided an ambulance for the Cloverleaf football game. The department participated in the Tunnel to Towers Medina Run Walk in Medina on September 8th. This organization assists fallen first responders and military families with mortgage-free homes, smart homes for wounded and disabled veterans and firefighter and police officers. September 13th, the Lafayette Township Firefighters Association held its Night at the Races event. The Lafayette Fire Department is thankful to this organization and the equipment we were able to fund due to these events. And the department participated in the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new Medina County Sheriff's Office shooting range on December 24th. We did apply and receive notification of a grant award for the Blue Coats of Medina County for $5,000 for a defibrillator. I think Chief made a typo there.
AED.
But anyway, battery chargers and training props. We are having issues with the Ford Explorer, acceleration and deceleration issues. It's back in the shop again. You guys should have received a copy of 2 quotes for the air conditioning compressor.
From,
Yes, there was R&J Heating and Cooling, $6,035.15, and then also a Samsel for $5,100. Chief didn't really indicate any real preference other than the fact that it needs to be done. Unfortunately, we aren't able to get any type of warranty replacement on any of those, but I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I would probably lean towards having Samsel, better price in right in our backyard, so.
yeah. I would feel the same way.
And I would make a motion to approve $5,100 for Samsel for HVAC compressor for the fire department.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 5,100, the Samsung. Air conditioner.
Johnson Controls will be providing a quote for repairing the fire alarm system. They've determined that it has received some sort of power surge, and it will be covered by our insurance. And they've been busy, the team's been busy preparing for ISO certification, which will determine our future public protection classification, which affects everybody's homeowner's insurance rates. The only other item that Chief had was salary continuation for an injured firefighter. I don't know, I sent you guys a copy, well, Chief sent the email out, and then I don't know if you guys wanted to have a quick executive session to discuss it, or?
I think it probably makes sense, don't you? I think it could be very.
It could go either way, but it probably should be.
Should be short.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll go with that. All right, roll call for executive session.
121G, what is it?
121, 22, G1.
G1, all right.
Employee.
For employee compensation. And I'll make the motion to go in, well, Paroli, yes. Well, yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Paroli, yes.
O'Neill, yes.
Fullerton, yes. Breaking out in executive session at 7:45 PM. Should not be long. Executive session, the time is 7:54 PM. No decisions were made. We're still on fire.
There aren't any, if there's anything else, I'm good.
Okay. Police?
We had 328 total incidents last month. Some of the highlights, 40 fire department assists, 32 traffic stops, 11 non-injury crash, 1 injury crash, 114 vacation watches, 2 disturbances, 4 welfare checks, and 2 deceased people. 1 was a natural cause, 1 was a logging accident. The incident on Hunter during the cleanup back in May, where the resident Brandon Poyer was arrested, he did take that case to trial. He was found guilty, and last week was sentenced to 30 days in jail. So that puts that case to a close. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
I do not.
I do not.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thanks, Lieutenant. All right. Zoning, there were 10 zoning permits written. Fees collected was $2,244 for a total value estimate of $1,506,000. The Board of Zoning Appeals has 1 variance received this month. Regular meeting, public hearing will be October 21st at 6:30. It's for a shared driveway. I think they wish to have another home built on the back of the existing property. Zoning Commission update, regular meeting, public hearing will be held October 14th at 6:30. Property on Lafayette Road is zoned light manufacturing, and they were wanting to change it to rural residential. And then also the map amendment went out to the CPC October 1st, and this is the same as the Lafayette Road. The CPC came back with their recommendation on the map amendment. The Planning Commission voted to disapprove the proposed zoning map amendment from light manufacturing to rural residential. As part of the motion, the commission encouraged the township to work with the parcel owner to reach a compromise, such as a lot split that would avoid rezoning the entire 78+ acres. Medina County Building, the zoning inspector is working with Medina County Building Department on 2 different properties. They're working with the Health Department on 2 different properties. Medina County engineers sent out 2 stop work orders on 2 properties in Lafayette, basically for grading without a permit. And that's all I have for zoning.
One thing kind of falls under zoning, and just to get clarification, I went to finalize the charges for the Hunter Drive cleanup on a tax duplicate, and they asked if we wanted to do it all next year, or if we wanted to stretch the obligation out over up to 5 years. Well, actually, they said it could be as long as they wanted, but the longest they'd ever seen was 5. So I didn't want to make that determination without talking to you guys on what your thoughts are.
When do they need to know by?
Well, when we file, I mean, theoretically, as long as we get it in probably before the end of the year, or the very early parts of next year, it'll get on the tax duplicate. The sooner we get it filed, probably the better. But I would say as long as it's done by the end of the year, we're good. And realistically, even if we have it fully assessed next year, it doesn't necessarily mean that it gets paid in full next year, or that we can even, that the tax foreclosure is gonna happen super fast, if it were to go that avenue. So, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. I mean, we've already outlaid the money,
Yeah.
the taxpayers have paid for it.
Yep.
I tend to feel that, just put it on and.
That's how I'm leaning. We've done this once before. We did it all at one time.
Right.
It was actually
Dollar
paid.
amount.
Yeah,
You know.
it was a lot smaller dollar amount, but I don't know how much that,
Right.
we gave the property owner ample opportunity to come meet with us to
Right.
rectify the situation, to come to a resolution. I don't think it went the way anybody wanted it to go, but, if you guys want, I can finalize the paperwork and just tell them to assess it all next year, and
I'm fine with that.
I'm sure
motion.
if it comes down to it, they'll work, they work with payment plans with, we're not gonna get to be the absolute authority to say it's all or nothing anyway, so.
But we might as well try to
Right.
as quickly as we can.
Everybody in agreement? Alright, then I'll just file for full collection next year. Alright. I'll get that done ASAP.
Do we have any correspondence? I don't see any.
I did have one, but it looks like we are on top of it and addressing it. It was from, Mrs. Vidovitz at 77 Egypt Road about the property at 7056. But Sherry's got it on her report. It sounds like she's working on it. Potentially some issues with the structure being unsafe and possibly some junk vehicles. So it sounds like she's working on it. But I just did want to address the fact that Karen had reached out to me just to find out kind of where it was going and make sure that it was being addressed.
Okay. Unresolved. Township newsletter, I know, it was brought up at the last meeting and disagreement or whatever, would definitely like to bring it up for a discussion again. We budgeted for this, and, we have the funds put aside for it, and, it's ready to go out, so I would make the motion to approve, the quote that we got from Minuteman. I think the total out the door is, $4,399.46.
But that's not including, we take the ads off of there, correct? We've got,
Oh, yeah,
Well,
whatever, minus the ads.
We still
It still needs to be the full.
need to.
correct, but,
Yeah.
but we did get, we'll be paid $26.49.46
Well,
for it.
I'll just make two
After
brief.
the ads.
I'll just make two brief comments, the same ones that I made the last time. As candidates, you would, and I think rightfully, question the use of taxpayer money to, push people's images and name recognition in advance of an election with the use of taxpayer dollars. But since sitting up here, we're now approaching what will now be close to $35,000 that'll have been spent on these newsletters. So, I don't know what changed from criticizing the practice as candidates for office and trustees, but that's up to you guys. The one thing I do have issue with is because of some questions about advertising for politics in the ads, we received a legal opinion from the prosecutor's office. In there, one of the prohibited items that we are not allowed to advertise for is, let me get it right here. Promotes alcoholic beverages, cigarettes, or other tobacco products of any illegal product, service, or activity. So I would interpret that very clearly as we cannot allow as much as we may want to, any of the local bars from advertising in a newsletter that's paid for with tax dollars. So unless we're gonna remove, I think the proposed newsletter has one for roadside, and I know we've done the Village Inn in the past, but obviously we can't do anything about past transgressions, but at a minimum, we should be pulling that ad and refunding roadside.
I don't agree with that. I think the roadside is the roadside. I would say that if you're advertising alcohol or tobacco, it would be more like an Anheuser-Busch ad or a Marlboro ad or something like that.
Okay.
We're advertising local business, in my opinion. I mean,
I agree. I mean, it's a restaurant. You can go there and eat and drink pop, care. They serve beer, whatever. Doesn't mean they're promoting it or not, right? But I think promoting local businesses is what we all should do.
I agree.
Motion?
I will make the motion to approve the newsletter and have it printed by Minuteman Press for $43.99.46.
Second? I'll second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, new server. I know the chief has been talking a ton with KGC over this older server that we have in the back room, but it operates the whole fire department and the township. Justin, now that you're liaison, have you had conversation with Brian about the server lagging and backing up?
Yeah,
issues?
I mean,
I've seen some emails from him and
they've been,
I can feel his frustration.
well, I think the server issue, at least from the communications from Keith at KGC, probably predates us even switching liaison positions. So I mean, it's definitely something that we've probably kicked too far down the road at this point. And Chief has definitely expressed his personal dissatisfaction with Lightspeed in favor of Keith. You know, I did share the quote at the last meeting. I think I forwarded it to both of you as well. You know, Lightspeed did offer slightly better hardware with a better warranty at a little bit better price, but I'm not really sure. Like I said, if we were going to try to be proactive and shop it, we probably should have done that already. It sounds like we're kind of at a point where we've backed ourselves into a corner on replacing that server.
Well, comparing these two quotes too, I don't believe this one includes the Microsoft licensing, which I think would bring it up to.
Well, I don't think Keith's covers the licensing either,
I
does
think
it?
you said it did.
Yeah, I did talk
talked
to
with
Keith.
him.
He said that he covered the license. The licensing was like over $3,000 or something.
I don't remember how much it was, but
Okay, well, like I said, I mean, it's not listed on the quote. I'm not gonna argue that it is or isn't, but it's not listed on the quote, so. I think the only place that I disagree with Chief is he'd like the township to pay for it, and I think that unfortunately, as much as I'd like to agree, I don't think without the need from the fire department, I don't think we'd be worried about a server for, if it was just the township operations.
not like
I know the township
correct.
uses some, but the fire department's need is
Right.
significantly heavier, so I do think we have to find a way to appropriate it out of, or pay for it if it's been appropriated within the township, or the fire district budget.
Oh, you're not,
You're not talking about
you're
splitting.
not talking about
I
splitting.
don't think so. We wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for the fire district. And they are two separate sets of constituencies. I mean, I know that the township is part of both, but, you know, neither of the villages, you know, fund the town, like the township coffers, so. I think it should come fully out of the fire district budget. But it does need to be done.
We can agree on that.
Yes.
I think there should be some sort of cost share between the two entities. trustees, but I don't know the
I
best
don't
way
think
to.
50-50 would be fair, because most of it's here, I get it, I understand what Justin's saying, and I would damn near lean on that, but the township does use it too. Not, I mean, obviously nowhere near as much, but
Right.
you have a percentage, 75-25, or just give it all to fire? What are you thinking?
Well, we would use it too, I mean, it's connected, right, everything
Yeah,
goes through it.
yeah, and 75-25 is probably a fair compromise.
I would be okay with that, if you guys are okay with that.
Okay.
Well, then I would make the motion to approve, the server replacement from KGC Tech Group, quote 62,689 in the amount of 17,250.95 to be allocated 75% from the fire district and 25% from the township general fund.
I'll second.
Hang on a minute.
Yep.
We have the appropriation status here in front of me, and I ain't sure where you're pulling that from either side, so.
Alright, let's see
Before we get
here.
another match about having to reallocate, that's coming down the pipe. So how
So,
much is it for each one?
well, let's get you the totals.
So sure.
So it'd be 4,312.74 from the township. And we should be perfectly fine out of the general fund for that.
Well, yeah, but you still have to have it in the right line item.
True.
That's the balance. Alright.
And then, let's do,
So I did, when I increased appropriations in the general fund, we did put money into, other financing uses.
Okay.
So I'm guessing it's gonna come out of there, and that has.
and then we'll need just under 13,000, 12,938.21 for the fire district.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see for that one. Well, I can tell you, just looking at this, there is nowhere 13,000 is gonna come out of the fire department side that has not already been expended.
So we'll have
In line
to,
this year.
We'll have
So-
to do an supplemental appropriation for the additional funds. Cause we have unappropriated money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I can say, you're probably gonna have to do that, you're gonna have to do
Yeah.
a supplemental to increase that.
Which fund would it make?
Well, from your general fund of the fire department, we're okay on the township side,
Okay.
because we just reallocated for that and increased the appropriations, but Brian's got his budget pretty tied up for the year and in all his line items, and I don't see where I can even move money around, so it's gonna have to be a supplemental.
Right, we'll have to pull some money that we were planning on carryover, we'll reduce the carryover by 13.
So what we'll have to do is next month, I know you're gonna hold off another month, but you'll have to pass another resolution to increase the appropriations for the fire department.
Okay.
Man, another month.
I know it stinks.
Hey,
Well-
this quote's gonna change, I think.
Well,
Or it's subject to changing if we have to wait another month.
We should do a special meeting in a week or so, and we can knock it out then.
we've done it before for a single item, and, you know,
I'm
I
sure it
think,
might be even more by then too, just to pay bills in general. And new bills that come along. 'cause they
I'm
come
fine
in.
with that, I mean, I have no problem with that, and
Well, let's
I know it's not ideal, but, you know, if we're just covering such a short
Yeah.
list of items, you know,
Yeah.
a morning meeting, I know it's sometimes easier for everybody to just pop in and get it done.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my calendar, I mean, sometime,
How soon
Wednesday,
can
Thursday.
we, I don't wanna, too quick of a turnaround for you to be able to, for us to figure out, you know, what the appropriations need to be, like,
Well, I mean, if that's the only thing you're increasing it by is, 13,000, isn't that what you said the number
Yeah.
was? Okay. I mean, it only takes me 5 minutes to type up a resolution, so I mean, you guys can have a meeting as soon as.
we want, basically, okay.
Friday, but, yeah, I mean, it won't take long, and that's the only thing you're gonna do is just for strictly that's fine.
I could do Friday morning,
well,
if you guys,
I'll be out of town Friday.
Okay.
I could do Thursday morning or
Thursday morning?
Wednesday.
I'm fine with that too.
Either one's fine with me. Thursday?
Fine,
Looks like, I mean,
that'll be the 9th.
okay.
Do we wanna do we do it in the morning? Is it easier schedule wise for you guys?
For me,
That's
yeah.
fine.
What time?
Whatever, 9's fine.
9?
9.
Okay, let's do it.
Thursday at 9.
October 9th. At 9. Okay.
So we made the motion, we seconded it. Did we vote on this?
We have
No.
not.
Let's,
do
let's
it.
vote on the total.
Yeah, 17,250.95 with the breakdown that we discussed.
Correct.
I made the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'll give Keith a call
Yeah,
and
let
tell
him
him
know.
that we've got the 43 in hand, right? That way he can get stuff ordered probably, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, we're not paying him until he
Right.
does it, so.
Well,
We'll have that
he
done.
actually did mention he might want payment up front.
Oh, it's okay. He can want that.
I'll give him the lowdown though.
Good.
I want a lot of things, but
So I'm gonna put that in the other professional and technical services line item, so you know. The 223.19.
223.18.
In the general.
Okay. New business. Wayne is here. Medina County Clubhouse, the clubhouse approval. The zoning commission, had a special meeting. Mr. Phillips was here, representing the golf course. We have the drawings here. The zoning commission, there was a height difference, as far as our code goes to what they had drawn up. So, they took it back to the architect and lowered it, and then had a special meeting, and the commission did vote unanimously, to approve, the clubhouse height. And that was the only issue that was there.
and now they need approval from us.
And they need approval from us because it's commercial property,
I
so it's, the first page is right there.
I would make a motion to approve, the site plan for the country club.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Now, Wayne, can you build a building? I've waited long enough, right?
I'm gonna go home too.
Yep. Sorry for the wait, man.
That's okay.
Yeah, I guess we could have been more cognizant and put that towards the beginning of the agenda.
In hindsight, yeah, probably. That's alright, he ain't have anything else to do tonight.
Zoning commission, there's position open on, the zoning commission, and there's a position open on the BZA. I would like to appoint, the alternates up to fill those slots and take, the dates that are open, from the two that have been left.
So we have one board position on both that are vacant
Yes,
due to resignations.
correct.
But we have two alternates
Mm-hmm.
on both boards. Yeah, especially given that we've had one for most of the summer, and both boards can function as it stands, you know, with the alternates. We have an election coming up, the board may be different for next year, may not be different for next year. I tend to lean towards leaving the vacancies until the organizational meeting next year. Neither board is hindered by having alternates seated for the meetings.
Chris?
True, but I mean, on the other hand, we've got, from what I hear, really good alternates on both boards as well.
I agree.
And I think there have been, the first alternates for both of them that expressed interest. I know I've spoken with the one on the zoning commission.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. They've really done
Right.
great work, and I'd just like to put them on the board myself.
I would agree.
Any more discussion?
Nope, just simply to clarify, it's not in any way, shape, or form a value judgment on the quality of any of our alternates. I don't disagree with that piece of it. Procedurally, I just don't think there's any reason to appoint those before January 1. So that's it.
That's fine. That's fine. I would move, I would make the motion to, appoint Tim Kassouf in the open position, expiring December of 2028 for the zoning commission.
And that was the position vacated by Mr. Burmeister,
Yes.
correct? Okay. I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Board of Zoning Appeals, open position would expire December of 2029. Mr. Fertile, I would make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay. Alright, next item is Otarma, insurance for, the township. The fire, will be coming up next month.
That's fine.
And it'll probably be later than that. I talked with Renee today.
Oh,
Probably not till
today,
November.
okay, alright, I
Yeah.
talked to her a couple weeks ago.
Well, actually, I guess November is next month. We may have it in time for the November meeting.
Alright,
We may not. And she did want me to warn you guys, I guess they're dealing with a new name change at the insurance company, but nothing changes team-wise, or they're just going through a name change over there. So when you see that announcement, she's gonna be on vacation for 2 weeks, and she didn't want everybody to panic, so.
At Spearman or Vernon Flowers.
Yeah,
whatever.
but one of them, I forget which one she said the name was changing on, but she just wanted to give us a heads up that when we see that, it's still the exact same team that's gonna be in place servicing it, it's just a
Right.
name change.
any discussion on this? I know the rates went up, but what hasn't, right?
Right.
And just, the renewal amount was, again, for the township,
Correct.
$730.
Yep.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll sign that for the renewal. Okay. When do you want to, go through the warrants?
Well, I think if we're meeting on Friday, there's no reason why we can't review them and approve them. You know, review them between now and Friday and,
Thursday.
or Thursday, sorry. Between now and Thursday,
Alright, so we'll just put them on the credenza.
yeah.
Okay. Alright, anything else for the board?
Not for me.
Oh, we do have, deeds, cemetery deeds that have to be signed, 2 of them.
Yeah, Rick sold 2 lots this week.
Okay.
She put the paperwork down there, but is there anything I'm missing down there? Oh, yeah, that's-
These are the resolutions,
Okay.
those are the meeting minutes.
Okay.
These are the.
Got it. Okay, good, alright. If there's nothing else, for the board,
Oh, actually, you know what? Go ahead.
go ahead.
How does it, can I sneak in on Thursday and do the Chippewa, road contract?
Yeah, we can add it to the
Yeah.
agenda, just send me a copy of the contract if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Alright. I guess, I don't even know if we can do it real quick, but we had kind of briefly talked about it at the last meeting. The certificate came out, inside millage was $6,100 off my forecast. So,
It's incredible.
yeah, well, sometimes you guess well, but, like we talked about, that's, rather significant increase, to the revenues to the township. And I think that, you know, in talking with the auditor's office, as long as we, just like when we did the reallocation to inside millage, which we probably would need to revisit if we wanted to, well, one, we probably should just because of the amounts. But 2, because if we want to try to allocate those towards anything else, but obviously everybody's dealing with a pretty big hit to property tax values. We just talked about earlier the fact that we have enough money in the bond fund. If we wanted to, we could choose to not collect that levy next year and still make the payment. Now, it does come at the expense of potentially paying it off a year early, so that's something that we need to look at. but also, you know, an increase, it's $167,000 more next year at a minimum. And that's if I think they probably underestimated what it may be as well. So we may see an uptick even above that. But I mean, we could look at things like, you know, offsetting some of the police levy, reducing our collection on that. You know, we've changed direction. You know, when we passed the fire levy last year, the talk was that we needed an ambulance, which we fully funded this year. So the money's already there. We talked about staffing around the clock, which we are doing, 3 people in the building around the clock. But originally the talk was a big chunk of what we budgeted in that levy was for full-time personnel, which I don't know if you guys have had the conversation with Chief yet, but you know, he's rethinking that thought process because of some of the scheduling issues that come with trying to meld. We can't go to a all full-time department. That's just not even feasible within the budget. And some of our neighbors that have tried this hybrid model are struggling with being able to backfill hours because the full-time guys take up all the prime shifts, and then it's always holidays, weekends, you know. So we're looking at a point where, you know, if we aren't gonna do that, that's a big chunk of that levy that we're no longer utilizing for what we said we were gonna do. I know Chief has presented the possibility of switching that money towards buying new equipment, and it's definitely something worth considering, but I also think as a board, we need to give some consideration to the fact that we told the public that the levy was for one thing. Should we be switching that at this point?
Well, it's a good point. It's definitely worth discussing, but maybe we use some of that to offset the bond levy in the future and try to get that paid off sooner.
Could do that as well.
I mean, it's all gonna affect the bottom line, right? It's the sooner we can start
But-
collecting on that, the better.
And it's a matter of which tax, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, the reason the bond fund has extra money is because it over collected 2022. I believe was the year. It was like 715,000. It's now collecting like 426, something like that. So because it over collected, but then that means that the taxpayers that were here in the township in 2022, which may not still be here for some of them, you know, they got overtaxed. When,
Right.
you know, do we give that back to the taxpayers that are here now, or do we give that back to the taxpayers that are potentially here in 2027, 2028? There's arguments for both, but I just think it's something that we need to look at because it's within our ability to. If we leave everything the way it is, I think we pull in more money next year than we need to run the township and the fire district. So if we're gonna do that, we better at least have a really good explanation for why. That's all.
Yeah. I concur. I think we need to just strongly consider how quickly we can pay off that bond fund. I mean,
Sure.
I know we'd all like to do that.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
three of us would like to
absolutely,
do that. Right now, we gotta remember, it's probably making a little bit more.
Well, and that's
Or it's being
and
positive
that's
that
and
it's
that's where
costing
it's
us
and that's
more.
where it gets to be tough, right? Because I want to say it's like 2.25 or something crazy low. I mean, I was looking at it to see the last 3 years. So from 27 through the end of 29, you're only going to spend but it's $60,000 in interest, which on a $3.5 million loan, that's not a huge interest savings by paying. So because the interest rate's so low, you're right. Right now we've got it invested in Star Ohio at 4.4%. So we are technically making money instead of paying it off.
We just need to make sure instead of paying it down, we pay it off, and once it's paid off, then we can stop collecting from residents on the taxes.
But
As long as
actually,
that debt's still there, we still have to collect on it, right? I mean,
as long as the debt's still there, yes, we have to collect on it. But as we I guess I hadn't even really thought about it until we just kind of walked through that, but we're talking about paying off a 2.5% loan with money that we've got earning 4.5%.
Exactly.
right.
probably not a good idea. I mean,
When you look at it, those terms, correct, that's what I'm saying. However, if we could stop collecting the taxes to begin with from people,
well,
then
that's why maybe we do consider just not collecting that levy this year.
That's yeah, that's,
And as long as we articulate that to the taxpayers and say, hey, look, this is why, right? Like, we've got your money invested, at a better rate than what we're paying on the loan. Like, I think most people will understand that concept. And I don't think anybody's gonna get pissed that we take less money out of there.
no.
That their property tax bill goes down, even if it's only $20.
Or 1 year, like, and then
Well-
you don't collect on, then turn around and collect on.
Well, or we could look at, we may be able to have it, you know what I mean, or like figure out what we can reduce it by
Yeah.
every year going forward to pay off the rest of it, right? So, alright,
And to be clear though, are you advocating or considering the possibility, I also wanna make sure, of using any of the reevaluation money coming in, the extra? I don't think we'd be allowed to put that on the bond though, but if we could.
probably not.
That's-
You'd probably have to use fire department
I
money
think so.
for it. So I think we have three things that we need to look at. You have the increase in inside millage, which we can use for anything within the township. So, and if we can't find like something that we need to do to benefit the residents through an additional service or improved facilities or something along those lines, then we can look at offsetting some of the police levy. Even if we do roll it back for the entirety of the rest of the term or something along those lines. So that's issue one. I think issue two is looking at the bond fund by itself and whether we can roll that one back a little bit for the remainder or skip it this year altogether, or, like something along those lines. And then I think the third one is really analyzing the fire department budget and understanding, do we wanna look at what the actual cost of what we said we were gonna do last time, the ambulance, the staffing, and like I said, since we've now pulled the full-time staffing, I wanna say it was close to half of what we thought the increased need was gonna be, so.
And then we're also sitting at higher salaries, or payments and salaries right now, wages than we
So,
anticipated.
right, so we do have to look at that piece of it, but I guess what I'm saying is, do we want to adjust that levy for that, knowing then that we would ultimately potentially have to ask for separate equipment money, or do we wanna just say, hey, I know we told you that it was gonna be this, this, and this, here's why that plan doesn't make any more sense and what we wanna do with it, and then just make that decision. You can argue for both, and I think you'll have people in the township that are like, in the fire district that are like, yeah, we like that, so there's not a new levy, and then there'll be other people that, no, you said you were gonna do X, you should only do X, and then if you want something else, you should ask us for that. So I think those are all conversations that we should be having. I know it's the beginning of October, we only have like 2 regular meetings scheduled, but I do think that might be one that's worth looking at. It's gonna be lengthy, it'll take some time, but I think we can prepare some numbers in advance and have a substantive conversation on that sooner rather than later, because again, as long as we make those changes, when I talked to Kristen at the auditor's office, she said as long as they had it by early January.
Well, she
They
told
would
me
be good.
early to mid-December, to get the, mid-December probably, maybe later, but, one, on the township side, to get the, allocation, like we did last year, to allocate more towards.
For the inside
Yeah,
knowledge.
because if we're gonna take the inside millage and funnel it somewhere else, it can't
Right.
come from road and bridge.
Well, you know my thought on that. I think all inside millage should go to the general fund, because we can always put it to road and bridge, but yes, I mean,
Right.
and I'm all for, the sooner we have these conversations, the better. I'm not, there's no reason to kick it out further than we have to, but I was under the impression when I talked to her that as long as it was by early
And
next
that
year,
may
we were
be.
good, but she must have been feeling extra nice the day I talked to her. She
But
might have been in a
I think
bad
she's
mood
got a
today.
lot going on, they've got appeals and stuff they're working on, so.
She does. Okay, that's good. Anything else?
That's all I had, sorry.
All right, public commenting.
Nick Kittle, 5488 Columbia Road. First of all, I want to thank you guys. It's been a pretty productive meeting, and I appreciate you guys' attention to detail and everything. I noticed, well, I not noticed, but we have a zoning commission position open, as you guys are aware. The zoning commission has made a lot of good progress over the past year or two, and I think it's very important to have a full bench. I just wanted to see if you guys would be posting for an open alternate position to fill that position. There's a lead time for people to understand what's going on, get their feet underneath them. And I think it'd be a good move to at least start looking at candidates so that we can fill that open position. I don't want to speak to the BZA, but I assume they're probably in the same situation.
Yeah, both boards now have one alternate position open.
There's no harm at all to starting sooner than later, to me.
Absolutely.
I would say we could start running ads for open positions for alternates.
Thank you.
And we'll have, at the same time, maybe it's not too early now, we'll have, someone's term's gonna expire this year on each board.
Absolutely.
So we may as well start soliciting, applications for both.
Yeah, I have a feeling there might be a couple more open positions at the beginning of the year on the zoning commission, and I think it'd be beneficial to get some people somewhat trained. That makes sense. And then the only other thing I wanted to say, you guys were discussing the bond fund and investing the money at a 2% margin compared to what the interest rate is. And quite frankly, I don't need you to tax me to invest my money at 2%. I personally prefer to invest my own money at a much larger margin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. All right, who's next? Anybody else? All right.
I'll go.
Oh,
If nobody else does.
take your time.
Thank you. Don't cut into my 5 minutes. Okay, the first thing I wanted to, oh, wait a minute. Linda Collins, 129 Shady Slope. Who is taking point on filing a claim on the former fiscal officer's bond to recoup the money that was misappropriated? I don't know if that's the correct word.
I knew I missed something during fiscal. We are still waiting on a final determination from OPERS on one of the 4 employees. So we don't have a final amount yet to be able to do that, but Sherry and I have been working on that.
Okay, so when can we expect a result?
Sherry just walked out, sorry. But she's been in communication with OPERS, trying to get the one squared away, because there's some discrepancies over what's been filed. So she's working on, if I understand correctly from the last conversation I had with Sherry on it, she is working to figure out what's been reported to OPERS, because the reports don't all match up.
Okay.
It does require a little research, and unfortunately she's digging out from some other things, so
It's not top of the list.
unfortunately it isn't. The downside is, until we get it solved, potentially interest and penalties are tolling, so we do need to get it done sooner rather than later, so that will be something that I will talk to her about in the near future.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have an update for you very soon.
All right. And not the last meeting, but the meeting before that, we brought up that Westfield had been purchased by another bank. And I was wondering what the how it affected us and our monies. And I was a little bit confused on the interest rates that we were getting opposed to what we are now getting.
Yeah, I did talk to Westfield about the purchase, and they said commercially, nothing will change. And as far as the interest rate goes, we were making 4 1/4, then the feds made a change, then we got dropped down to 4%.
So we're making 4 now.
4%, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, we just approved that new checking will be guaranteed until the feds change it at 3.95%. So
Okay.
that's still pretty
And
good.
just an observation, and I know there's been a little bit of a rift going on, but it was really hard to hear Sherry on this side of the room. So if she's gonna sit back there, we should give her a mic. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Okay. Kristen, threw this in front of me and I forgot to say something earlier. I'll read some of it. Your Boo Bash is Saturday, October 28th, or 25th, from 12 to 3 here at the fire station. You wanna add anything there?
Nope, it's gonna be, games and crafts and, there'll be different, the police department's coming, the country club's coming, other different local places, the service dogs are coming, there's gonna be puppies, the puppy adoption's coming, lots and lots of fun lots of fun things. There's no trunk or treat, but there will be trick or treating at the different stations with the games and crafts. So, yeah, come, it's free.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. All right, motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
I'll
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, 8:39.
I don't think we've ever had a tie to second a motion before. Getting the victory.